For the first time since the 1960s, the city will conduct district elections rather than the usual at-large elections.
Up to now, we've had at-large elections, which means that every registered voter in the city has voted for every city council member and the mayor. The district elections that are new this year, that means that only voters in specific districts will be electing their council members. We have 3 districts on the ballots, districts 1, 2, and 3. That's the east side, the Mesa, and the west side specifically. And only those voters will be voting for their council members this year. And then the voters in the other 3 districts in 4, 5, and 6 will be voting for their council members in 2017.
A final district boundary plan was adopted by the City Council in March, dividing Santa Barbara into 6 districts. The 6 newly adopted boundaries are identified as District 1, the east side, District 2, the Mesa, District 3, the west side, District 4, the lower Riviera, District 5, Upper State Street, and District 6, downtown.
Well, we had a very short, intensive public participation period. We hired a company called the National Demographics Corporation, they're professionals in this field. They do this for cities all over the state. And they set up a website which was interactive. The public could participate in this whole process. We had 4 public workshop meetings where people came and provided their opinions and their insight into the various drafts of the district boundaries, and the public was also able through this interactive website to go in and actually make their own district boundary maps, which was really neat because we saw about 20 different maps from different people in the city. Some were organizations, neighborhood organizations, other were individuals, and through the public participation process, everybody collaborated and came to a decision, and council finally made the final decision on March 30th based on all that public input.
One of the benefits to district elections is that there will be equal representation from every part of the city.
Well, the districts will allow for direct representation for each specific neighborhood and community, so I think that would be a big benefit for individuals. It'll help with the candidates who will be running for council. They'll have a smaller area to campaign in.
We'll find out how district elections will impact the city. I think one thing we do know is that elections will be different. They'll be more concentrated on neighborhoods and neighborhood issues, and I think that will give voters a better opportunity to have access to the candidates running. So I encourage people to seek out local forums, look for candidates walking and knocking on doors. I think there will be more access for people to get information about who to vote for.
Rather than going into a polling place to vote, this election will be done by mail-in ballot.
For the past number of elections, the city of Santa Barbara has gone to mail-in ballot elections. And what we found is that that has increased voter participation and turnout by making it easier to vote. You get an addressed, stamped envelope to mail back in your ballot. And so you can do it in the comfort of your own home, fill out the ballot, close it up, put it in the mailbox, and you voted. We'll also have drop-off centers if you feel more comfortable dropping off your ballot, but we're trying to make it as easy as and accessible for people to get out and vote, and we encourage people to do so.
Ballots can be dropped off at one of these 4 drop-off center locations: City Hall, Franklin Neighborhood Center, Holy Cross Catholic Church, and Calvary Baptist Church. Ballots will be mailed out to registered voters in Districts 1, 2, and 3 on October 5th and must be postmarked by Election Day on November 3rd.
So one of the changes this year by going to district elections is that not everyone will vote for city council this year. If you're in one of the 3 districts that does not have an election this year, there isn't another citywide measure on the ballot, and so you don't vote this year. Your district representative will be up for election in 2 years in November 2017.
Because of the change in this year's election, the city's being proactive about informing residents of what they need to know to vote.
Well, we feel that the outreach for this election is extremely important because a lot of people still aren't aware of the district elections. So what we're going to be doing, all of the voters in districts 1, 2, and 3 will be getting a sample ballot. And in that ballot, in the sample ballot, there's a letter that explains kind of the district elections and what's been happening, and it explains why they're only voting for 1 person as opposed to 3 people this election. For the rest of the other 3 districts, districts 4, 5, and 6, we're going to be mailing out postcards with a similar letter to explain to them why they're not getting a ballot this year, and that they will be getting their ballot in 2017. We're also doing a public service announcement that will be airing on television and the radio stations locally. We're putting bus ads out. We're doing a lot of voter outreach this year just so that people can understand what's happening. This is a big change in the way our system is run.
For registered voters who would prefer to go in and vote rather than mail in their ballot, they can do so at one of the drop-off center locations from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Election Day.
In an election like this, especially the district elections, it's going to be extra important for people to vote, especially in certain districts where there aren't as many registered voters. Then that means that there are going to be fewer people who will be electing their city council member. And these city council members, even though they directly represent the districts, they're still working for the city at large. So it's just important that everybody who can vote, who have registered to vote, to actually vote in this election because it impacts the entire city.